Stop performing for love. It's not going to happen. And I know you're listening to this and you're like, I'm not performing. I'm just being myself. Are you? Or have you been performing for love for so long that you think that this is your personality? Like, no, I'm pretty sure I'm not performing. This is who I am. Are you not performing? When you're saying yes, when you viscerally want to say no, when you try to save and fix everybody in your life, when you tolerate all sorts of disrespect, even the fact that you're playing small in your own life, it's a form of you performing for love, trying to make yourself digestible, good enough, likable, useful. Of course, this isn't your fault. You've probably been raised by people who conditioned you to play small, to look externally in order to determine who you're allowed to be. Look at your environment. What does the environment need? A good girl? Yes, that's who you're going to be. A caretaker? Of course. Somebody who self-sacrifices? Sure. Somebody who fails, even. You did it. Our entire lives, we've been trying to achieve the unachievable task of earning love that isn't already ours. Because we've learned all these things, all these toxic things about earning love and stuff, but we didn't end up learning that no matter what we do, we can't really earn it. That didn't stick. We're like, no, maybe I should do more. Maybe I should change more. Maybe I should play even smaller. Maybe if I am less of me, how much less of me can I be to achieve this love? Instead of learning after our chronic experience, for most of you with our parents as well, primarily, that love cannot be earned. No matter what you do or how much you do, how much you change, love cannot be earned. What will be given to you is maybe some attention, some type of connection, but it is so conditional and it sort of hooks you into becoming someone else in order to maintain that love. So even if you are to earn love by being self-abandoning, agreeable, small, tolerant, fixing everybody, enabling them, tolerating them, how long are you willing to do that? Would you say your entire life? Are you willing to live your entire life playing a role so that you are experiencing a type of love that only needs you to be who they need you to be in order to be loving to you? A love that we have to earn is a love that we have to work really hard to maintain. And I'm pretty sure I don't even have to tell you this. Because if you've been raised by a parent who was conditional with their love to you, you know that very well. 1 minute you're great, the next minute, no longer. That's why you dread every time life goes well. You're like, when is it going to be ruined? It's going to be ruined, right? Or when somebody is nice to you, you're afraid you're going to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. And all of a sudden, love is going to evaporate and disappear. And so you change. You want to become this perfect, lovable person, right? No drama, no fears, no needs. You just make everybody's life easier by picking up their burden, their responsibility, their problems, their pain, their shame, their guilt. But what your narcissistic and toxic parent did not ever teach you is that people are allowed to be loved for exactly who they are, even if they're not perfect. Even if they don't work 24/7 to make us happy, the people that we love deserve our love. And you probably know that because that's how you love, in a way that it's not only unconditional, but maybe to an extent, it's a type of love that is not reciprocated to you. You extend that type of love to everybody. A love that understands, a love that is patient, a love that tolerates, a love that constantly forgives. But the people you have across you probably don't give you that type of love back. Because if they did, they wouldn't have been treating you the way that they are constantly, right? And yet we kind of think that the more we tolerate someone, the more we are patient with them, the more we manage their emotions, be it a parent or a lover, that eventually we're all going to live happily ever after. But what eventually happens is that we are chronically feeling unworthy, discarded, afraid, unsafe. And this person that we're so much trying to gain the approval of by not also, not allowing them to take responsibility or actually doing what they need to do in order to stop being so hurtful. We're enabling them and they become worse and worse and worse. So really we live our entire lives putting a different person in the center of our lives, starting with the entitled, toxic, and abusive and tyrannical parent. And then we may replace that with a partner. And we just live our lives looking at this person constantly and performing so that that person finally loves us in a way that we don't have to keep trying to secure. It's kind of an addiction, right? We're like, this time, they're going to love me so much, it's never going to stop. If I manage their mood, if I treat them the way they need me to treat them, if I never say no, if I don't set boundaries, if I never show my own dissatisfaction with being treated this way constantly. If I don't know that I'm worthy of more, I can continue to tolerate this man's, this father's, this mother's, this partner's disrespect. But a part of me, that child part of me is thinking, you see, when we're acting right, we're being loved right. But that's a trap. That's the trap your parent set up for you. And that's the trap you continue to fall into. Because when you suspect or experience this conditionality, instead of being like, what is this? I deserve to be loved for who I am. I deserve to be respected. I deserve relational safety. The moment you see that, you're like, challenge accepted. This is where I know how to operate and how to thrive, by trying to secure love from unloving, unchanging, and really, really mean people. But you see it as a challenge because it feels like if you are to become that great, right? To get someone like that suddenly has more validity than anything else, right? The love of the unloving person. It's like the people who never laugh but laugh at your joke and you're like, I must be special. No, that person needs to get a grip and laugh more often. The people who are so hard to impress, so hard to love to love you, so hard to speak of their emotions. When they give you this tiny bit, you think, see, I'm special. I'm that good that I made them give me what they don't give to anybody else. Congratulations for however long it lasts. But does it last? Did it ever last? What did you have to do for it to continue to last? What was the next goalpost? Stop performing for love. And stop performing, first of all, for your parental love. And if you're here for a while, you know that I always talk about how we need to heal our childhood trauma. Because all of this performance was taught in our childhood by our parents. And we've been performing for so long, and we started so early because love was conditional since we began to show signs of having a personality. That we think now that this is who we are, but it's not. But in order for us to find who we really are, we have to go back and shed all of this conditioning and dethrone all of these people we put on pedestals, and we made their love the most valuable, an exquisite and incredible thing in the world. A love that is unloving, mind you. A love that is unstable, inconsistent, unsafe. A love that gives a little bit and then in the next moment will take it all away. That's not love. That is abuse. But we're so used to being abused through being loved that we think abuse is love. And having the love of an abusive person feels like a win. Because all our lives, all we wanted is for the abusive parent to finally love us. Because when they did, life would have been great. And it would have been. If your parent wasn't abusive and actually loved you, you would have probably had an easier time with the things that you're struggling now. Fears of intimacy, fears of being seen, crippling anxiety, CPTSD, racing thoughts, limerence, all the things that are happening in your internal world, a mean inner critic that absolutely loathes you, self-sabotaging. All the things that you're struggling with today would probably not be there. Maybe not to that extent, But it was never your responsibility or something within your capabilities to change. Making an unloving and abusive person kind and loving to you may be a natural thing that you think you could do by treating them a certain way, but you're only just managing them in the moment. You can never truly shift how they feel and who they are. That's something that they have to do for themselves. But they don't have to do it when we're dancing around them and trying to please them all the time. When your parents are still torturing you, even if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, some of you 70. I see your stories. I see you in Heal when you tell me how old you are. These parents may not even be alive anymore. You're still living your lives according to what would make them hopefully love you. So you chase your worth and your enoughness by achieving, by pleasing, by saving, by self-abandoning, in the hopes that you will finally experience what it's like to be loved for who you are. But that's the thing here, that for you to be loved for who you truly are, you have to allow yourself to be who you are. That's what love would do. And that's what love didn't do, right? You weren't allowed to be yourself because you weren't loved as yourself. So you changed and you pretended to be someone else. You put on all these masks and all these performances that became who you think you are. But as I said a couple of times so far, they're not. So to really love ourselves, we have to let ourselves be ourselves. That's the first allowance. That's the first thing that love does for us. It says, I'm going to welcome you as you are for who you are, and I'm going to love you for it. And that may not apply for every single person we meet. Because for us to give our love to people, that's a gift that we give to people. And we have some standards and expectations. And we deserve respect. And we deserve things in order to engage in being loving with a certain person. But to love ourselves, that should be unconditional. But how can it be? Do we know how to do it? No. Of course we don't. But it's time we learned. And a good starting point to learn is to remember a version of you, a younger version of you. Whoever comes to mind after this conversation, maybe sitting somewhere and crying and possibly wondering, why doesn't anybody love me? Or why doesn't my mother love me? Why doesn't my father love me? And I want you to figure out something nice to tell her. Something so nice that will make her stop wondering why that parent doesn't love her, but will make her excited to know that you love her enough and you came back for her to rescue her from being eternally stuck in a corner in her own life, wondering why someone that she thinks she loves or wants the love from does not love her. And if you free her from that prison, then so many things will change for her. She will no longer chase unavailability, ambiguity. People who just, all they give you is breadcrumbs, but maybe they don't even give you breadcrumbs. But then again, you've always known how to turn nothings into somethings. Imagining things that are in there just to make up for the lack, for the neglect, for the void, for how lonely it feels not to be loved in your truth and in who you are. You had to learn to make up stories. You, first of all, took responsibility that you can somehow alter whatever is happening. Should you do enough? Should you change enough? There's a way to make it happen and make it change. But also, you've had to be in denial about what is really happening. You've had to kind of forget how much the people that you loved have hurt you, so that you can continue to insist to earn their love, so that you can finally feel loved, and hopefully all of that pain that you hold within, even if you don't remember it, would be healed. You're looking for the antidote in the person that poisoned you, but all they're doing is poisoning you more and keeping you hooked, a hostage, your entire life. And many of you may no longer be hostages of the parents per se, physically or, in the reality that you're in now. But maybe you're catching yourself be a hostage in other relationships that look way too similar to the one with the parent that hurt you the most. That you're catching yourself tolerating things that you kind of know you don't deserve, at least cognitively. But there's a part of you that possibly thinks that this is all that she deserves, and that's the best she's going to get. Because she never got anything better than that, did she? So you need to reparent yourself so hard, and love yourself so hard, so that this standard that you have within about what is the bare minimum of wanting to be treated by others becomes so high that you no longer tolerate unloving, mean, abusive, toxic people around you, let alone in your heart, let alone in your life, let alone as life partners, and especially not even the parents. Those parents that you keep going back to like a loyal little girl, hoping that maybe now that they're growing older, it's going to get better. They will see the light. It's not going to happen. Stop performing for love. It's not going to happen. Who you were deserves to be seen and loved for who she is. Not by some magical prince. Not by your parent, the mean and abusive parent that is unloving and unmovable and has absolutely no empathy for you. But you deserve to be loved from you so much that you finally forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for blaming yourself about everything that happened to you. Forgive yourself for how you've had to cope with what happened to you. Forgive yourself for blaming yourself for the inability of others to love you the way you needed and you deserved. Don't rush to forgive them, the parents, the abusive ex. But forgive yourself. Understand yourself. Love yourself enough to give her a chance to experience what it's like. To not take the blame, the responsibility, the shame, all those things people throw at you. Love her enough to protect her from all these things. Love her enough to teach her that she's allowed to be her own person, that she's allowed to set boundaries, and that she is allowed to expect to be treated with kindness and respect and love. And that's not a bad thing that she should be ashamed of. That's not her being entitled or a brat or ungrateful. That's her being a human, a woman who knows her worth. So stop performing for love. Imagine the little girl that you were, wherever she is trying so hard to gain love over and over again. Go and liberate her. Go and tell her that she doesn't need to do it anymore. Not because she found someone else's love. Not because she finally did it. Because she doesn't have to. She's never had to. And tell her that she gets to start over. That everything she learned was a lie. And that you're going to teach her what it's like to be loved through your own love for yourself, which then expands into what kind of love you allow into your life, whose love you allow into your life. Stop performing for love. Stop performing for your love. And just heal the parts of you that think they should continue to do so. Because by how your parents treated you and showed you that you don't deserve love, you evidently learned that you don't even deserve your own love. And you were hoping that by earning someone else's, you would finally be convinced that maybe you do deserve it. But that didn't work, did it? I'll see you soon.